In the 1800s, the state of New York did a study on two different families. One family was that of godly Jonathan Edwards and his wife Sarah. There are varying statistics, but the report I read shows that out of 729 descendants, over 5 generations, about 200 became preachers. 65 became Bible college teachers. 13 were university presidents. 60 were authors. Scores of them held public office. More than 100 were lawyers and judges. 60 were doctors. A few were senators and governors. And one became the vice president of the United States of America. What a family. Before we look at the second family, I'd like to point out something. In Genesis chapter 1, God said, "Let us make man in our image." The three persons of the triune Godhead took counsel together and planned the crowning work of all His creation. God made us men to fulfill a mission, and our mission is most important on the home front. Men, this is our God-given mission. We are to show God's likeness, first of all, because God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness," in verse 26. Our family must see Jesus through us men. Secondly, we are to take dominion. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Subdue it, the earth, and have dominion," in verse 28. Third, we are to multiply. God repeated this command 3 times in chapters 1 and 9 because it's so important. So get married to a good girl, love her whole life long, and have children, because God, as He mentioned in Malachi, is seeking for godly seed. Fourth, we are to be filled with the Spirit of God. Jesus commanded to tarry until you be endued with power in Luke 24, and be filled with the Spirit in Ephesians 5. Finally, we're able to make followers of Jesus. Go and teach them to observe all things I've commanded you, Matthew 28. We start in our home. Bring your family to love and obey Jesus, and your ministry will explode with growth. This is God's battle plan, to fill the earth with righteousness and with His glory. It starts at the home front. It's no wonder that Satan fights the home. The other family studied was that of Max Juke and his brother who married sisters. They lived their lives for their own selfish pleasures. 5 generations were also studied. They had 1,026 descendants. Of those, 300 died in infancy from neglect or harsh conditions. 140 spent an average of 13 years each in the penitentiary. 190 sadly became public prostitutes. Tragically, 100 were alcoholics. They cost the state of New York $1.2 million at the time of the study, which today would be about $40 million. Both of these families did spiritual battle. The Edwards family did great damage to Satan's kingdom of darkness. They, by faithfulness in their home life, day after day, and through the power of Jesus Christ, lived victoriously and saw many rescued from sin to serve Christ in the fullness of life. The Juke family, on the contrary, helped Satan advance his dark and destructive agenda against the good plans of God. Now, generations from now, our families will someday tell a similar story of you and of me. And Satan knows this. He knows that in just a few generations, with just average-sized families, there will be hundreds of thousands descended from you. And God knows that too. And He wants to bless that. You today can be like godly Jonathan Edwards and his faithful wife Sarah. Through the power of Jesus Christ, you with your family can show God's likeness. You can take dominion. You can multiply. You can be filled with the Spirit of God. And you can make disciples of Jesus. And someday others will say, "I'm going to do what my daddy did, what my grandpa did," and Satan will tremble, and you will have fulfilled God's mission for your life.